Hundreds of students getting the opportunity to ask President Zelensky through a video link hosted at U of T. First, it was Chrystia Freeland introducing him. Then Zelensky gave a brief address noting the sharp differences between today and the last time he spoke to a group of people in Toronto some 3 years ago. In response to one question from a student, he encouraged internet-savvy Canadians to play a role in Ukraine's defense by sharing the truth about what is going on during the war.
It gives an opportunity by using this instrument to share the truth. In our case, it's almost like weapon.
Zelensky also comparing his country to the 2019 Raptors.
This is when you win, when no one is expecting you to win. By bringing together and uniting, you do things that seem to be impossible.
Thursday will mark 4 months since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Zelensky estimating today that Russia occupies some 20% of the country. Reporting live, Alex Bloomfield, City News.
At the outset of this gathering, I wish to acknowledge that those participating in this event from Canada are doing so from the traditional lands of Indigenous peoples across the country, Toronto, and I am very pleased to co-host this gathering with U of T's Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy and its director, Professor Peter Lowen. Thank you all for joining us. Let me extend special and profound thanks to President Volodymyr Zelensky, the President of Ukraine. President Zelensky, you and the people of Ukraine have earned the admiration of people across Canada and around the world for your leadership and your courage in this time of crisis. The universities across our country have responded to your call to action. Many of them, including the University of Toronto, are welcoming students and faculty from Ukraine. And because we are inclined to build bridges rather than walls, we have also forged strong partnerships with leading universities in Ukraine. We are deeply honored that you have taken time to speak with us today. And I'm personally honored to have this opportunity to see you again after welcoming you to the University of Toronto in July of 2019. I'd also like to extend special greetings to Her Excellency Yulia Kovalev, Ambassador of Ukraine to Canada, to the Honorable Chrystia Freeland, Canada's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, to the many students who have joined us for this special event, including those from Ukraine and those of Ukrainian heritage, and other members of the U of T community, including several of our leading supporters who are here in the room with us. I also serve as chair of Universities Canada and past chair of the U15, and I am pleased that we are joined online by students and faculty members from many universities across the country. I'd like to invite those joining us via live stream to say hello.
Greeting President Zelensky from the University of Alberta, located in Treaty 6 territory, the homeland of the Métis. On behalf of the University of Alberta students and community members, we are grateful and honored to join you today. Thank you.
We'll continue. We will hope to be joined later in this event by all of the different institutions across the country, and they will have a chance to introduce themselves when they are asking questions. At this point, since our time is tight, I think we will move on, and I'm delighted to introduce the
Well, thank you very much, Merrick. Thank you, Peter. Thank you to everyone at the U of T. Thank you, Yulia, who organized this. It was done at light speed, at the speed of war, rather than the speed of bureaucracy. And I'm very grateful to everyone. And I'm most of all grateful to the students who are here. Thanks, Merrick, for starting with that land acknowledgement, and also to my Edmonton friends for that great Edmonton land acknowledgement. Que vous soyez à Edmonton, à Kingston ou à Montréal, je sais que ce sera une journée importante pour des milliers d'étudiantes et étudiants partout au pays. Et je suis très heureuse d'être ici avec vous. Et bien sûr, c'est un grand honneur pour moi de présenter le président Zelensky. Mais avant de présenter le président Zelensky, j'aimerais vous expliquer brièvement pourquoi il est si important qu'il prenne la parole aujourd'hui. On February 24th, we all woke up to a world utterly can defeat Ukrainian democracy. He has tried to show that tyranny can defeat democracy itself. We cannot allow him to succeed. Panie Presidente, я вас бачу. The Ukrainian people are showing of Ukraine. I am a finance minister. I'm a finance minister. I spoke to Serhiy Marchenko, Ukraine's finance minister, this morning. I talked to him a lot. I know he needs money to fight this war, and Canada. Ukraine, of course, is fighting for its own democracy, its own freedom, but we recognize that Ukraine is fighting for us too. Ukraine is fighting for all of the world's democracies, and that is why we will persist. We will not tire. We will be there. Independent. And I remember that time so vividly. And it was a time when we, the Westerners, were Ukraine's teachers. A lot of Canadians were part of that effort. My own mother moved to Ukraine and worked on constitutional reform. But today, the tables have turned. And today, I really believe Ukraine is our teacher. And we, the rest of the world, are Ukraine's students. The world's democracies are, certainly. Like any good teacher, the people of Ukraine, in their heroic resistance, are actually teaching us things that we already knew. They're teaching us that you can stand up to someone bigger than you, even when the odds are stacked against you, if you believe in why you are fighting and if your cause is right and true. The people of Ukraine are teaching us today that democracy is worth fighting for. They're teaching us that the strength of a country doesn't come from how many people you can force to do your bidding, you can force and conscript. It comes from how many people of their own free will stand up together for themselves. Now, these are lessons that are being taught at such a great, great cost by the people of Ukraine to all of us. And I think we in Canada need to think very hard about them and apply those lessons to ourselves, to our own constant effort to build, to improve our own democracy. One of Ukraine's first teachers was study, my brothers. Doing so, he is teaching the world and leading the world's democracies. Пане президенте, ми надзвичайно горді, що ви world's democracies. Пане президенте, ми надзвичайно горді, що ви тут з нами сьогодні. Дуже вам дякую. Слава Україні!
Дуже дякую.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for so many warm words. I'm not sure that I deserve them, but I'm sure that our people deserve them. Thank you for this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. We are prepared to surprise the world, and I said those words. This is when you win, when no one is expecting you to win. By bringing together and uniting, you do things that seem to be impossible. And this is how I was describing our goal, the goal of our country, the common goal of Ukrainians. Who could have thought that 3 years later, this would sound totally different? Who could have thought how great the difference will be between those trillions? They are destroyed by Russian missiles and bombs. The rules of the game do apply, but in a different meaning. These are now the rules of survival. Of course, they're equal, but they're not fair. They are cruel, rigid, and straightforward. You shoot at the front line, you help in the rear area when you hear the air have been doing all it takes at all different platforms, using all possible diplomatic instruments. Ukraine sincerely was willing to make it happen, but the other side wanted something very different, and we have seen what it was. In the morning of the 24th of February, the peace, liberation, Donetsk and Lugansk in 22 now have Mariupol, Melitopol, and dozens of other cities and villages that now have to be liberated as well. We have carried out at the Crimean platform, and now we are resisting the Russian aggression not to have Mariupol platform, Kharkiv platform, Kherson platform, and dozens of other platforms to deoccupy the sovereign territories of Ukraine. 3 years ago, our goal was a full-fledged reform of infrastructure. Ukraine launched the big construction program, and that was astonishing. And 3 years later, Russia started their so-called special operation. And we've created new bridges, schools, hospitals, stadiums, and Russia has been building bombs and missiles all this time in order to destroy all of that. 3 years ago in Toronto, I was talking about the restoration of Donbass, and we have brought together hundreds of investors and companies from around the world there in Donbass, and we organized a forum in Mariupol. 3 years later, that city is almost non-existing, eradicated. In 2019, we were talking about the rebuilding in the east of Ukraine. Based on the preliminary calculations, we required about $10 billion. At that time, that amount was shocking, it seemed. 3 years later, it's times and times higher, and we now require hundreds of billions of dollars for restoration. And now, not only these, but we're talking about the south, the center, the north, the west of our country, which need to be rebuilt. We are divided by 7,000 kilometers in the ocean. We have a full understanding. We are separated with Russia by in words and most importantly in values. In 2019, I was talking about my dream country, about a state where the highest value will be the human being. And in 2022, we are fighting against the aggressor whose highest value is weapon. My dream was a full-fledged digitalization of Ukraine, and we, from the front line, our teachers are recording their lessons and the task for and home assignments for the school children during the air raids or in the metro, subway shelter. Sometimes they even marry in Zoom because there's no any any other way around. And 3 years ago, we were talking about the capable local government. And 3 years later, we're talking about powerful territorial defeat, the heroic deed of former generations. This is a sad day of commemorating the victims of war that we celebrate on the 22nd of June. On this same day in 1941, Nazis starting Ukraine, we stood up to defend our country. Today we are fighting for the future of our children and grandchildren, for the possibility and opportunity to build a new country. We already surprised the world. We've come together to do the impossible, and we, Canada, for your support. Slava Ukraini.
Дуже дякую.
Thank you very much.
Director of the Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy. In addition to educating students, we're home to numerous research centers and programs, including the Petro Yatsik Program for the Study of Ukraine. And we prize our role as a convener of important global conversations. And there's no more to become tomorrow's leaders in Ukraine. And now, without further ado, I want to turn to questions from our students, both here at U of T and from across the country. For our first question, we turn to Anna, a student here at the University of Toronto. Anna.
Mr. President, my name is Anya Breitman. I'm an incoming student at the MA in European and Russian Affairs here at the Munk School. And I wanted to say that over the past 5 months, you have been compared to so many cultural icons, ranging from Sir Winston Churchill to Harry Potter.
Дуже дякую за запитання.
Thank you for this question.
Ви знаєте, по-перше,
You know, first of all, thank you for these kind of comparisons. Harry Potter is better than Voldemort. We know who is Voldemort in this war and who is Harry Potter, so we know how the war will end, of course.
дякую.
Thank you. You know, to be honest, I will be very trivial in my response. Sometimes you need trivial things because these things that we love sometimes are very simple, but they're very clear and straightforward. I think that such role model are the people of Ukraine, and there are very many of them. And there were many cases of this. It's just will be my general response. An ordinary Ukrainian farmer who could take his tractor and close off the road to the Russian tanks during invasion. An ordinary woman in our village who went out and stopped the armored vehicles with her hands, bare hands. Our beautiful children who sat in their apartments when the enemy missiles hit their house, and unfortunately they rest in peace in our history and in our memory. These are Ukrainian people who have stayed in Ukraine and who have not given away our freedom, because we can talk about the values that we are protecting, and this is true, and the main value is our people. This is our treasure, and this is what I look up to.
Katerina, a student from Kiev Mayala Academy, who is currently on exchange here at the University of Toronto. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. President. My name is Katerina Luchka. I'm an exchange student from Kyiv Mohila Academy in University of Toronto. And my question is, right now, many Ukrainian students have left country to study at foreign universities. And how can the Ukrainian government ensure that the smartest of this generation come to Ukraine and have a bright future? Thank you.
Дуже дякую, Катерина, за
Thank you, Katerina, for your question. First of all, I would like to thank for such beautiful exchange programs. I would like to thank Canadian government and the rectors universities for making this available to our students and supporting them. We have Kyiv Mohila Academy students there. I know that the level of their knowledge is quite high. We can be proud of them. So I am happy that they have the opportunity to improve themselves and get new knowledge and experience in these exchange programs. Regarding what our government can do to ensure what you asked, there are several stages that we need to pass with our government and people. We need to make sure that our security aspects are protected. We have to stand strong for our land, for our universities and cities, and use the capacity. I don't have time for bureaucratic hurdles because we are the country in war. This is why we will have to rebuild country very quickly. Despite the war outside, our institutions have endured. Our financial institutions and our digital cyber sector endured. You can register the business even now in 7 to 10 minutes. And we managed to fight back on all cyber attacks with the help of our partners and with the help of our institutions that we managed to put in place. This digital network was built in a matter of a couple of years. I'm very proud of this reform and we succeeded. So the security and as liberal approach as possible.
Thank you very much. Our next question is from a student, our friend Faith Megadami at the University of Calgary. So we'll throw it over to Calgary.
Hello, President Zelensky. My name is Faith Mogadami, and I'm a nursing student. I wanted to say how perceives the war on Ukraine. And as a well-known comedian,
that I don't like to answer questions twice. I think I've heard these questions more than 2 times. But the thing is that I will try to answer in a different manner to the same question. Social media and internet in general, freedom of press, freedom of speech, and freedom of thought. Something that in Russia and other countries where internet resources are blocked, where there is no opportunity to talk freely in the internet, that is the challenge of the dictatorship and the aggression of Russian Federation left behind. And this is a powerful instrument, and I don't want our partners to be offended. We do transfer very powerful pieces of weaponry to us, but I have to be honest, there's a big question, what matters more and what kind of weapon protects us more? So information, the word, sometimes can give a bigger blow than some types of weapon. And our task is for the shells and bullets in this weapon, just like internet, shouldn't run out. Just like real shells and bullets shouldn't run out on the front. And here, these bullets and shells, these are the people who share the same values, who can get this information and pass it over and share it. Yes, have a look, tell it to the friend, share it with your friends, just sharing what's going on, and that's extremely important. I think in this this is about protecting the freedom. In terms of humor, it's not really humorous times, and you don't feel like joking. But humor is a kind of medicine which always helps, because you cannot be with your thoughts in the war 24/7. Sometimes you have to make a break for a couple of minutes in order to analyze and take stock, to be an adequate person. Read something humorous. There are memes in the internet. There are good memes about different leaders, different political leaders, and I think it's great. It's a good criticism, a good satire that allows people to relax a little bit, and that really helps. I know it helps not only me. I know our soldiers in the trenches also need this breath of fresh air in between the shellings. You can't protect the lives of people by losing the sense of life. So there was a very interesting remark about Harry Potter, also humorous, so thank you for that as well.
Our next question comes from the University of Saskatchewan, and we're joined by Quinn Rozwadowski, who's a political studies graduate at University of Saskatchewan. Quinn.
Greetings, President Zelensky. It is a true honor to speak with you today. My name is Quinn Rozwadowski, and I am a student at the University of Saskatchewan, located here on Treaty 6 territory and
皆さんに少し変わったお願いがあります。中国語を最短最速で話せるようになる23大特典は
Thank you for this question. I didn't hear the name. I didn't hear the name of the person. That's okay. As regards to the democracy, what we are fighting for. When we are saying that we are fighting for common values, this is absolutely true. The war has no distance. We are fighting for the same values, just like any other country who would like to live in the democratic world and have the right to choose where to live, who to live with. When we ride the bike, they put on the helmet. Just in case they fall down, they don't break their head and survive. The president of the Russian Federation here to occupy our houses, come in, rape and kill people. If you allow all of that, there are other people in the world, like-minded leaders, like-minded people. They will see that if it works here, it could potentially work in a different part of the globe, in any continent. Therefore, no one should be allowed to do that. So we need to move on in a preventive manner, make certain specific steps, and slap on the hands if the people are even deliberating or thinking about this. And it has to be very rigid. We have to do it in a united manner, no exceptions, and or no special treatment for such countries. All the world should respond to the aggressor in the same manner, the same way as if this war was waged in your own country. Then the result will come.
Thank you very much, Quinn. The next question is here at the University of Toronto, and I will hand the microphone over to Emma.
Hello, Mr. President. My name is Emma Patterson, and I'm a Master of Arts student here at U of T studying European and Russian affairs.
Дякую за запитання.
Thank you for your question. You know, unfortunately, I have to acknowledge that we have not had a martial law before this. Never. Therefore, we had to respond very quickly, sometimes very rigidly, because when you are protecting democracy, there may not be questions in having only democratic means and tools to do so, because the democracy is the right for the dialogue, to the right for a choice, but when the war is going on, there is no time for dialogue or discussions. Unfortunately, there is no time for this because you're counting not seconds or minutes, but human lives, the number of survived and the number of dead. Very clear rules. Clear, rigid rules, swift rules without dialogues, without any redundant discussions. It's not about democracy. So I have to state that in order to protect the democracy and freedom in the country, sometimes you have to go fast and non-democratic. But when this ends, when the war ends, I think this will bear entry. Years, several revolutions, the war. That's a very crucial moment for us. Some people in my team are saying that this is like going into the light from the darkness. This would mean turning another important page of our country and a very positive change. And I do believe that all of these 27 European countries will support our candidate status.
And next we turn to l'Université de Montréal, Vincent, en français et puis en anglais.
Parfait, merci beaucoup. Donc, so I'm going to repeat my question in English afterwards so that everyone can understand it. So, Monsieur Zelensky, selon vous, comment les institutions internationales comme l'OTAN, comme l'ONU, comme le Conseil de sécurité de l'ONU pourraient être réformées pour prévenir une autre guerre, prévenir une autre agression?
So how can you reform this in order to prevent all other wars from happening?
So
thank you very much for this.
Okay, no, please.
Sorry.
It's okay, it's all over.
Well, I was going to repeat it in English, but so how, in your opinion, could international institutions such as the UN or UN's Security Council or NATO be reformed to prevent other international crises such as this one, other wars, other aggressions from one country to its neighbors? Thank you.
Thank you very much for this question. I think that all of these institutions that are truly important, and there's nothing more powerful on the international level, have to undergo reforms just like telephone communication. Because when these institutions were established, people were only thinking how to send information because there were only paper letters available. But then technologies changed, the way people connected changed. Then internet appeared. Everything is going faster, technologically faster. This is a technologically new century, and it feels like different, very quick decisions. The world is fighting for this. So this is why these institutions, they cannot be slow. They cannot act slowly. They cannot act based on the old rules. They have to go win the same pace as the world does, and they have to produce results. Accuse the aggression of a specific country, condemn it, and do it very rigidly and very straightforwardly. Everyone who wants peace, they want peace. They don't want just to discuss and blah, blah, blah about peace, because people are dying every day. Those who want peace, they want to get it in a fair manner for Ukraine, for any other country. In Moldova, they have occupied territories. In Georgia, they have occupied territories. There's war waged in Syria. There are wars happening in the world, and these international. I feel bad. Come and help me. The war may happen. Please do all it takes not to have the war. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We now go to River, who is based at the University of Alberta.
Hello, my name is River Hoffis. I am the Vice President of the Ukraine Student Society here at the University of Alberta, and I'm also VP West for the Ukrainian Canadian Students Union, or SUSK. I'd like to thank you very much for giving me the honor of asking you a question today. I would like to know what Canadian students and Ukrainian students in Canada can ask their political representatives to do at this time and into the foreseeable future to best support Ukraine's most crucial needs. Thank you. Дуже дякую.
Дуже дякую вам за запитання.
Thank you for this question. And thank you for your Ukrainian outfit. It looks very symbolic, very cool. Thank you for your support. I will be honest. We have very good and very efficient relations with Justin Trudeau. I'm grateful to the Prime Minister and his wife, Sophia. They are supporting Ukraine indeed on different levels. What we need, and as you know, there was a question today about the media, and it's not the first time I was asked, but I will mention this again, probably that Canada is helping us as much as they can. So it's very important that yourselves, students from many other countries, would pass on this message to their respective countries to pressure. Please do not allow anyone somewhere on the hierarchical bureaucratical corridors to forget about what's going on in Ukraine, to forget about war. Please don't become tired because of the war and with Ukrainian war. This is something that we need you.
Not very long ago, you were an actor. I'm wondering what it was that made you want to switch career paths to ultimately lead your country, and what made you confident that it was possible?
Later, when you will have your own kids, or maybe you have already kids, I don't know. But when you look at your children, when you understand that God has given you everything you've dreamt about, your profession, opportunities, the children, the family, and you have all of it. And this was all given to you by God, by your parents, and the state. A very unique country that you simply love. You love politicians who are only blabbing and don't want to do anything. When you feel all of this, you're not sure whether you will be able to do better than those before you, but you really want to do better. I had no other emotions, but the only one, that for what I have, for who I became, and what I possess, I have achieved all of this not alone. This country has helped me to do that with many different things, starting with the family that I was granted, because this is where I met my beloved wife. So if you respect this land, if you know that you didn't do it just alone, that you were given a gift. You have to share. You have to share as much as you can. And this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to share my energy, my strength, my experience, my openness. I wanted to share the biggest treasure that I have, my time, the time that I wanted to sacrifice and pay back to my country. And I am proud of becoming president. I am proud that our people voted for me. And for me, that is a big event in my life. Ukrainian people have entrusted me with this, and I'm proud to be the president of Ukraine. That's all I can say. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The University of Calgary.
Thank you. University of Calgary.
And Dalhousie University in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Thank you, President Zelensky.
Go to the University of, let's go to Queen's
Hello.
University. Oh.
Hello, President Natterer at the University of Prince Edward Island in Charlottetown in Eastern Canada. And on behalf of our entire university community, we stand behind you and all Ukrainians in your courageous fight for freedom and democracy.
That was worth the wait. Well worth the wait. Queen's University.
Thank you, President Zelensky. We join you from Queen's University, and I'm joined by a community of scholars, many of whom are connecting with us virtually today. We're committed to working together to build a strong future for Ukrainian students and scholars. And thank you.
University of Saskatchewan.
Greetings, President Zelensky. Dobry den. My name's Irene. I'm honored to be here on behalf of the University of Saskatchewan. Our university is in Western Canada in the province of Saskatchewan, which is a very...
And Wilfrid Laurier. And actually, we'll go right to Western University in London, Ontario.
Great. All right, you're right. Hello, President Zelensky. Thank you for being with us here today. Pause.
Go ahead. Thank you very much for this. Thank you.
President Zelensky, thank you on behalf of all the students, the faculty, supporters, and members of the public who have joined us here across the university and online. I think what Churchill said about the Greeks, we will now say about Ukrainians. Hence, we will not say that the Ukrainians fought like heroes, but that heroes fought like Greeks. But that heroes fought like Ukrainians, excuse me. And we'll certainly say that true leaders led like President Zelensky. We're deeply grateful for this opportunity with you. We pledge our continued support to your struggle for freedom, for self-determination, and for democracy. Thank you so much.